post-operative, intraoperative with keratoplasty. I think keratoplasty is like for us as surgeons, it's like a marriage with your patients. You need to live with them, they keep coming with problems, you try to solve them, something major happens, you keep working on it all the time. So I think the most, we have many complications. In the intraoperative, I think I'll start with the most devastating complication that we can come across. This is a case of an expulsive in a case of a combined surgery. After the cataract extraction, as you can see, there is a whole suprachoroidal hemorrhage, the vitreous is coming out. And gradually, as you keep seeing, I guess some of you must have seen it, you see everything comes out. The vitreous, the retina, the choroid, everything comes all out. And because this is an open sky procedure, there's nothing that you can actually do. So the best thing is to be prepared beforehand, be prepared in each and every case beforehand, although it's a very rare complication, very rare. So what are the things that we can do? So suppose how do you identify it? Suppose you have just entered the globe and you can immediately see if the vision, if the optical clarity is there, and you can see. The good idea is to stop it and then maybe do sclerotomies like you would do for any other surgeries. But suppose it occurs during an open sky phase, as in the video, I think the only thing we can do is put a finger occlusion. That's one thing. Or you can immediately have your donor button ready and suture it up. If you don't want to use the optical tissue, you can use an glycerin preserved cornea or a cryopreserved tissue to salvage the globe, the anatomic integrity of it. How can you prevent it? I think we all know of it, but it's a good idea to go through it all, that we need a pre-op lowering of the IOP, we need to control the hypertension, we need to make sure the patient's head is elevated and not down. By chance the OT table is not shifted down, or you want repositioning the patient on the microscope because of some reason. And of course your refination should be very gentle and partial, you should not be applying too much pressure. And also, having said that, I think it's important to have not too much pressure with the speculum as well. I think if there are certain cases when there are very tight orbits, I think it's a good idea you can do a lateral canthotomy to release the pressure. Or if the speculum still is increasing the pressure, you can also take lid sutures to stretch out instead of using a speculum. And I think this is the same thing to avoid in positive pressure. These are the things which you can do. I think for the lack of time, I will just quickly go into a few of the important complications. One is the epithelial defects. I think if you have epithelial defects earlier on, it's very simple, because you're causing a neurotrophic cornea. You need to have a lot of lubrication. You can use patching, lubrication. They usually work fine, and if the ocular surface is good. If there is any persistent epithelial defect, which usually if it lasts more than 15 days and everything else has been fine, I think it's a good idea to be more aggressive and do a tarsorrhaphy or use some other adjuvant measures. And the time is over, they say. Okay. So, quickly I'll just, regarding the sutures, I think it's important with penetrating keratoplasty that there can be these problems related to the suture and abscesses. So if you see a loose suture, remove it. And you need to educate the patient that if he or she feels any sort of foreign body sensation, you need to come in and do that. Sometimes when the patient comes in, you might see a small mucin plug like this, as you can see. So these are also indications that there is some tightening or there is some abnormality. So we should actively try and remove it, and maybe remove the suture as well, so that it doesn't occur, because it is these cases which usually end up having suture abscesses and infiltrates. And also you need to keep in mind that even viral recurrences can occur. And I think astigmatism has been dealt to some extent by Anand. But the other thing is that if you have astigmatism of more than 4 diopters, one can also do some laser refractive procedures to decrease it, to bring it down to 4 diopters or so. Okay, I'll just take a minute more. And I think other issues like glaucoma, cataract, I think we'll have to skip over. Last point is the traumatic graft dehiscence. I think somehow the wound never heals. This is a patient which we had come across, which came with a trivial trauma, with the injury with a child's hand, and she had ruptured the whole graft-host junction, and with all the choroid and the uvea coming out. So I think this is the important thing to keep in mind, is that when you're doing a penetrating keratoplasty, we have to keep a very close follow-up and in relation with the patient. We need to be more proactive so that they keep coming and they are educated, they understand. I think with this, we'll end this course. Thank you very much to all of you for your kind attention. And I'd like to thank the faculty for taking out the time for the same. Thank you.